And we get it started with Dudley Dawson, Hawgs Illustrated and Hogsports.com with us here on Ruskin and Zach, fresh off of a practice viewing session, I imagine, for the Razorbacks today. Dudley, good afternoon.
How are y'all doing?
We're doing good. So we were reading some accounts and some interesting movement today at practice, it looked like, with positions and whatnot.
On a day that Tim Tebow is let go as a tight end, Landon Rogers becomes one, which is fairly interesting. The true freshman quarterback from Little Rock Parkview takes the place of Aaron Outley, who was supposed to be the tight end from Little Rock Parkview, but is going to redshirt this year because he's just not getting past his injury. I'm not sure whether it's physical or mental there, but yeah, that was a movement today, and his tight end work was watched by none other than Art Briles.
Interesting.
Okay.
Now, are you going to get in trouble for saying Art Briles was at practice today?
Do I care?
That's a very good point. Good point.
What was your favorite moment from the Tebow era in Jacksonville?
I think when he ran into his teammate, he was trying to make a play. The guy, there's a good guy, but man, it's just time, to just stick with being married to Miss Universe or whatever her name is, and doing the sports TV thing. Just let it.
And going to the mission fields.
Right.
He does great.
Yeah,
We need him in the mission fields. Is what we need.
How long until she decides? Well, I'm looking for greener pastures now that Tim is no longer in the spotlight.
This is a very cynical and dark thought that you have.
That sage didn't work around here, did it?
That's right.
No, I from all indications, she left it. So
that's right.
If you wouldn't marry him if you didn't love him. That never happens, right?
No, and not for. No, that's right.
I knew they'd get a bell.
We're going to need a new bell after that. Do we have any idea what's going on with Traylon Smith right now?
They basically, I think are getting him some rest and not, since he's supposed to be the number one tailback, just trying to make sure that whatever mild injury is, his malady is getting to, taking care of stuff. Also, A.J. Green, again, was not in pads and dressed out today to practice. He's just standing there watching. So, and Josh Oglesby, who put the foot to Hunter Yurchek, he was out of practice today with a foot injury.
So this could be like a pitch count kind of thing?
I think so. I mean, he had been getting so many reps, and with A.J. Green not out there too, I think you're kind of, making sure you don't overwork him because, again, he's supposed to be the guy. They talk about finding a number two guy, whether it's Rocket Sanders, A.J. Green, Xavier Hunt, Josh Oglesby, whoever. But we're into a few weeks in camp now, and these are where you start to see these slight injuries or injuries that maybe you're not getting in the training room taking care of yourself enough. What you have to do when you're a college or professional athlete is you can't just come out stretch and everything's going to be okay. You got to get into cold baths and all those other things that athletes do now, but did not do back in my day. We went to Sonic and got pink lemonade, and that was it.
We went to the liquor store. Anyway.
Something like that.
Something like that. How precarious is the running back spot? I mean, past Traylon Smith, there isn't a lot of experience and or depth. If Traylon Smith is a no-go, I mean, are we raising red flags and going, hey, we got a problem here?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, you've got some guys that back there that you feel good about, but a lot of them have been hurt. Demetrius Johnson was moved from tight end back to running back full time today when Rogers was moved to tight end. So I think they're trying to help out there a little bit in practice and all that. But yes, he's the guy who's shown he can do it. Much like Trey Williams and some of the other defensive linemen that they got transferred to Ridgeway, Markel. You feel like since they've played in the SEC, they know what's going on. But you get all these running backs who look great. But we'll see. Again, how things work when live bullets starts coming at them. And Rice has some live bullets. Texas obviously does, and then down to the rest of that schedule, there's bullets flying all over the place.
Talking with Dudley Dawson here on Ruskin and Zach. So the Art Briles thing is interesting because he's currently not employed anywhere. So is he just like hanging out, I guess, here with his son?
Yeah, it sure looks like that. It sure looks like that. He was just kind of wandering around their practices, watching things. That's the first time that he's been spotted this year. Obviously, he was spotted up here last spring for one of the practices. It's like I said on with Grant the other day that I think I would, if my dad was a great football coach, I would talk to him and let him come to practice. Now, I don't believe there's going to be any consultant business or anything like that, but you should take advantage of talking to your dad if he has coached college football and coached at a high level.
But, I mean, you're a hop, skip, and a jump away from him being a consultant. I mean, now that, things at Baylor have been cleared, he doesn't have, show cause or anything like that. I mean, it's not that big a stretch. Not saying that it could happen, but you could use, our Kendall Briles could use him as a resource, and it's like adding an extra coach or a consultant to your staff.
Yeah, I just don't think even with him being cleared that you the optics of that, how they would look, and I think that didn't the guy get $15 million to go away from Baylor? I mean, he's not hurting for a check.
No,
yeah. So I would just think the optics of that would be bad, and you just really, I don't see a reason to do that other than you can just talk to his son. He can pick up the phone and talk to his son. Again, you're around here, you never know what's going to happen, but I just don't see that as being a viable thing right now.
It'd be funny if it did, and the spin job that would be applied to that would be really interesting to observe from the outside. If they did, they did.
Yeah, well, I will say right now, I will say then it's not a good idea.
And I agree with you. We're talking with Dudley Dawson here on Ruskin and Zach. So some big work for the future. We talked about tight ends currently earlier. What about the big news over the weekend with a couple of future tight ends that have committed to Pittman and in this Arkansas program?
Yeah, Shamar Easter is the junior from Ashdown, who everybody wants to compare him to Kyle Pitts because he's 6'5", 225, and can run like the wind. That's putting a lot on him early, but that's going to be the comparison for a lot of people now that Pitts had such a good year. And then the other one, Jaden Ham, who I will forgive him for committing on Saturday night at 9 o'clock. But if you're out there listening, recruits, Friday night at 9 and Saturday night at 9, maybe not the best times to commit. If you want to be you want to be loved by future reporters up here. So just saying. But both of those are obviously real big and athletic tight ends. When you throw in Tyrus Washington, that is in the 2022 class. I would say that your future University of Arkansas offensive coordinator is doing a pretty good job recruiting.
He is. So they scrimmaged last Saturday. Defense dominated.
We're told.
We're told that the defense dominated.
Told, yes.
But, I mean, for people who don't follow training camp that closely, I mean, that's what you expect 10 days into practice is the defense to be ahead of the offense.
Yeah, and, I think that all the coaches that are successful talk about that. You want your offense to be smooth and all that, but the defense, which let's be honest, has not been great here over the past few years, and they went out and tried to add some depth, and they did in the defensive line, and they feel good about the cavalcade of people they have back in the secondary, and you've got to feel good about your linebackers, at least in terms of your three that are going to get the most time, and you think you have some depth. So, the defense should be looking better and should be giving the offense some fits at this point in camp. Now, if you get closer to the season, and we got to factor in how many people were supposedly out the other day too. A lot of weapons that Arkansas would use on offense were not playing last Saturday, apparently.
Yeah, apparently from what we're told. I thought, Dudley, that everything has gone according to plan because it's about around last Saturday when we get we've got a long way to go speech, and that's usually, and that's kind of what happened.
Yep. Yep, and that's a perfect point to do it. And many coaches send out messages to their players through the media or through the their comments after practice. And I think that was definitely what was going on with that too. But I will tell you that the one thing I continue to be impressed with. Don't know how many wins it'll translate in, but I continue to be impressed with the organization and how it's run over there. Like a head football coach should run practice. And I think that there's definitely a football dude coaching at the University of Arkansas right now, and that's again, we don't know how many wins they'll have, but at least it looks like they're doing things like they're supposed to.
Yeah. How many dress rehearsals will they have before Rice Week? And when do you think they'll probably turn their attention exclusively to Rice?
I think that probably, let's see, after this week, they will start incrementally start looking more at Rice. And then the next week after that, obviously, you're full bore on it. But I don't think that Rice's offense and defense is at a point to where you have to focus on it more than you just have to focus on yourself leading up to it. But yeah, the dress rehearsal, I guess, is going to be the 27th. But I'm sure this scrimmage they have this weekend will obviously, be one that they push as well. It's not like the NFL where, the fourth game is where everybody, the fourth preseason game is where everybody is making their last stand and going to be cut or not cut. So I think you're getting closer to concentrating fully on Rice, but I just don't think you go full bore to that next week. You just kind of ease into it.
So we're talking with Dudley Dawson here, Hawgs Illustrated on Ruskin and Zach. Let me ask you this, because you're qualified from the recruiting side and from knowing about the roster here. It's kind of handicap the talent level that this team has now. If you want to rank it in the SEC, like however you think's best, just how would you qualify what the talent level is on the roster now?
Well, a couple things on that. Number one, I was listening earlier, and this recruiting writer, ever since he called Yelda Froho Kajalti, and Yelda continued to let me do that before his mom told me that his name was Yelda. When I see a recruiting name that I can't pronounce, I just call him Andy or Don or whatever, by that point. So I'm not in that group anymore. Was at one time, but not in that group anymore.
Okay.
But in terms of recruiting, I would say that they're getting closer to where they need to be 1 to 22 and 1 to 44. But they're still nowhere near where they need to be in the upper level of the conference. And that's, they're getting better at recruiting. Obviously, getting all these in-state kids that they did get. A couple obviously are leaving the state, 3, I guess, that are leaving the state. But I think they're getting closer, but they're nowhere near where they need to be. I guess if I put it on a 1 to 10, they might be at a 5 now. But they were at a 3, before these last 2 classes. And it's just you got to continue. And I keep saying this. The one thing you've got to do is, if you're going to get a lot of 3-stars, which this program has for the vast amount of its history, you've got to get 3-stars that have not gotten to their ceiling yet. They can't be as good players they're going to be in high school. You've got to get guys that are available to be developed. And then I do think this staff, has the acumen to go ahead and develop these guys, which, again, I think, I heard y'all talking earlier today that the last staff just was okay at recruiting, not good at development, lacked in communication, and just wasn't winners.
Yeah. Does KJ get the whole season to basically prove that he's the quarterback? And injury notwithstanding, but this is his show, correct? I mean, there's no exit plan. There's no eject button at any point, correct?
He would have to fail miserably for anybody else to get a shot to be the main guy all the time. I do think you'll see some of this, plays, for Malik and probably Cade Renfro as well, Lucas Coley. But this is his job. He's waited his time. He's done his time waiting on this. I think he's got the opportunity to be really good. But again, we have Missouri to look at, and we have the LSU game the previous year and a few other, plays. So he hasn't had a lot of work, but he is definitely the best quarterback they have over there. And I do believe, I guess I've been watching him now for 4 or 5 years since he was in high school. I do think he has become a much better quarterback instead of just an athlete that plays quarterback. And I do think when you listen to him talk, the verbiage that he uses now, he gets it mentally. I think that I think that's important. I think it's hard for any young quarterback to come and play in the SEC unless you're just a 5-star guy who's all talented, because these guys up here shift people around on defense, not just you're not just playing against Sardis, Mississippi, and those sort of things that where defenses are just set up and trying to overpower each other.
Yeah. All right, Dudley, thank you so much for the time today. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Dudley Dawson, Hawgs Illustrated, WholeHogSports.com, with us here on Ruskin and Zach. I wonder if anybody was allowed to take a photo of Art Briles watching practice today.
Careful.
Or if that was foreboding.
That was not good.
Get dove into that issue at some point.
Careful.
That's right. All right, it is your drive home. Can you imagine the spin if they did make it? If they made him a consultant. Well, he's done nothing wrong, guys. Come on. Blah, blah, blah.
It would be a
cancel culture. Blah, 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 blah.
It would be interesting. Yes,
you could hear it now, right? Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but it is it's curious.
Look,
it's fascinating.
If he has no show cause and he has the right to pursue a job, the optics of it, you can argue one way or the other. But if he's
I don't think football coaches really care about that.
No, they don't.
Particularly this one.
So, I mean, if you can,
although he does get sensitive when you bring it up, so maybe he does care about the optics a little more than we realize. Okay.
If you have the opportunity to consult with him, and if it's just Kendall doing it, talking to his dad, I don't see that there's any problem with that.
No. Well, the better if you're just talking about football coaches, Art's better than Kendall.
Of course.
There's no. I don't think that's a debate.
Of course.
So, yeah. Well, it's interesting stuff.
The start of the season is just around the corner, and if you're into sports betting, BetOnline is where you should go to win some money today. Whether it's live bets during games or future bets on who you think will win the championship, BetOnline has all the latest odds, news, and information for all your online sports betting needs. Visit the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So before the next big game or before the season starts, head on over to BetOnline and start playing today. That's BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts.